tuning. Constellation, stars and stripes. All right, so today I want to take some time. We're gonna go over. Ever feel like your career is running you instead of the other way around? That's what we're going to be breaking down today. Why high performers feel misused, why employers feel restlessness, and why entrepreneurship isn't rebellion, it's reclaiming consent. So you're about to understand what makes me your N, the letter N. Okay? Fun little exercise here. So it started from a post on LinkedIn that I posted, and client commented and they replied. They said, this post hits hard. I wouldn't have thought of it in those terms, but your description of misvalued and underutilized is really accurate description of their institutional career. And it was at that moment where they used the word career that I was like, okay. A lot of times it's not that people don't know, it's that they may not be able to articulate it. And that's really what stands between us sometimes. So the word career really jumped out at this moment. Feel free to hop on to LinkedIn while the video is playing and look for today's post. Check it out, or yesterday's post rather, about the barcodes. And it dawned on me this. Let me get the picture for you. It'll really answer a lot of your questions right off the door that you have in life, right? So if we look at the etymology of what the word career means, right? Career is a run, usually at full speed. It's a course of action, right? And this is like 1534 is when this was actually formed. Okay, so it originally meant a run, usually at full speed, course of action, and it came from the French word, Middle French, that means race course, a stretch, road for vehicles, right? And then later on in the future of that time period, it passed us, but later on, the sense of occupation or profession appeared in 1803. This is the authority of the word career. And the verb came out 60 years after the original, meaning to charge at a tournament. But run, right? So think about all the words you hear or see in posts on LinkedIn: burnout, steady pacing, you name it. Drop them in the comments below. Let's see what the most recognized and remembered are. What I noticed right away, though, is career and Careen are only one letter off. Now, Careen in the 1600s was lean, as in a ship on its side. Or as a noun, 1591, it was the position of a ship when laid on one side. Okay? Now, what do you think about when you hear career, right? And what do you think about when you heard Careen before today, before this moment. Because the hidden truth is that the word career, we just went over the definition, it's on the screen, the actual etymology. The reason why people feel all of this stuff they feel is because the word never meant purpose. Think about it for a moment. A run, usually at full speed, race course, stretch, road for vehicles. It never meant purpose. It meant motion, speed, and the direction imposed by a path, your career path. See, this is why they think we're weird, because the words are important, right? So, career path, career goals. Now, when you think about that, the translation is a career is not what you are. The career is how well you move inside a predefined course without stopping. Mario Kart, right? Is that why a lot of us are frustrated in United States employments? Because it's only a matter of time before you realize the Mario Kart of it all? Could it be? Let me know. So this explains that American work pain, or even the United States citizens pain that may be being experienced but not really understood what's happening to you. So schools, pipelines, right? Because you didn't just wake up one day and say you want a career. Where did that come from? America didn't just adopt the word. It was built in the institutions around meaning that was given to us, which is why schools created those pipelines. Jobs created the ladders, right? Because the school said, go to school, get a job. No, it couldn't be me. Oh, that was a song, excuse me. So jobs created the ladders, right? They gave you that path. The performance reviews wound up in the mix, right? Promotions all of a sudden became a thing, like race lap markers. And then this famous LinkedIn term that 69% of y'all are liking or posting about, burnout, right? You didn't pace yourself. No. This is why that term study pacing is so retarded, because it's a run, career is, usually at full speed. What do you mean you didn't account for burnout? Right? You're not evaluated on truth, fit, wisdom, long-term coherence. Now think about the quote I gave you in the novel codex. We're no longer moving or just passing through time. We're measured by it. You're measured by it. Right? So you're not evaluated on truth, fit, wisdom, or short or long-term coherence. You're evaluated on velocity, endurance, compliance with the course. Now, some of y'all are gonna look at your LinkedIn friends, or what do y'all call them on LinkedIn? Connections, right? You're gonna look at your LinkedIn connections and you're gonna realize they've been the saboteurs of your life. But you can't blame them. You can't blame them because you didn't know what the words meant. You just wanted to be accepted, right? So those people went along clicking likes, engaged, commenting about things they thought they felt like they knew what they were saying, but they had no idea, right? So they're talking about burn out this, 7 steps not to do this, 18 basically stay on the course. Now, what comes next? Let me see what I got in my notes for you. All right. So this is why so many high performers feel empty and exhausted. You didn't fail. You ran the wrong race perfectly. And that reminds me of, I should have pulled it up, but I know you've all seen it. The photo, I guess you could call it a meme. I don't know. The photo that was circulating in Facebook, LinkedIn for years now, maybe a decade, of the cheetah in the dog race, right? And how the dogs ran off at the start, and the cheetah was still inside the little thing, just chilling. Like I don't even. This ain't even my race, y'all. What y'all go ahead. Y'all got that. I don't need to prove myself to y'all is what they use it as, but think about that for a moment. Think about that for a moment. If you're in a career, left a career, preparing your sons or daughters for a career, why so many high performers feel empty but exhausted? They didn't fail. We ran, myself included, for some time. Now, that's not to say it's not value added, make the experience you get and where you're going. But for some of us, we realize at some point we ran the wrong race perfectly. That's why you're not getting a promotion, maybe, right? So when you describe the feeling of imposter syndrome, do you see how this might connect? The top performer, but you always felt inadequate. If that's not the definition of imposter syndrome, give me a better one in the comments. It's not insecurity. It's misaligned trauma. You've heard me. Everybody knows my story. Recovering from the battle of toxic workplace, thinking my dumb ass was gonna save America. One shot, one blow. And Most High said, no, you're capable of winning that court case. They see how you written it. That scared the shit out of them. But that's not how you're supposed to do it. Because it'll be the wrong energetic signature attached to it. When instead, people adopt what they value, not what's forced upon them. And even though it was the best thing for them, they would have felt like it was forced upon them. So I'm doing it through branding and marketing, right? Because a lot of you are top performers wondering why you feel inadequate. It's not insecurity. Again, it's misaligned trauma. You're in a toxic position all day, wondering why eventually you hate it yourself. And you can't even enjoy the things you thought you loved about life because you were valued institutionally, underutilized structurally, and misread cognitively. Constellation is here for you. Higher cognitive class of business. See, it's because the institution, you pick it, whichever institution you want. institution rewards output. The institution rewards output, not orientation. So when your values are coming from seeing differently, the system can't metabolize them. I mean, you think about the relationship you want. Is it a work relationship? Is it the last relationship you just got out of? Is it your family, your friends? Because you are what you eat. The question is, what are we consuming? So when they go through that experience and someone's value comes from seeing differently and the system can't metabolize it, the result is chronic frustration, constant seeking, residual shame. Why isn't this enough if I'm winning? See, a lot of y'all are winning. Like that's that Brene Brown speech on shame. Why is it not enough if you're winning? That's not personal failure. That's what happens when a human is treated like a vehicle on a track. That is your career. Go get the novel Codex, right? This is not in there, but you'll understand this better, plus everything that's in there. But this is where your work gets dangerous. Yeah, you can say it's in a good way. The United States citizens' mentality is to be defined by a role. That's why you hear me say for so long, before I even knew to articulate it like this, I don't do titles. That's not my girlfriend. That's what's her name? What's her name? Right? This is how I go to 3M when I did, and I do official engineering work without an engineering degree. This is how Pasha runs a maintenance department at a $40 million plus net operation without any maintenance experience, because I don't do titles. I always saw them as rules and regulations, like a little mini contract of terms and agreements, right? But the United States citizen is defined by roles, protected by compliance, rewarded for staying in line, stay in your lane. Identity is their position on the course. How many of you woke up today and said, that sound like me? Let me know if that sound like you. So the American mentality is defined by agency, your ability, oriented towards self-authorship, measures progress by coherence, not speed. See, that's a lot of the issue is some people were quick to get there, but they don't know where they at, how they got there. This is the problem with gatekeepers. indirectly because you put people in positions that ain't really built for it. The people that are built for it are the outcasts because they sound different. Constellation, stars and stripes. We build it. So the American is mentality and mindset is defined by agency, the ability, oriented towards self-authorship, measures progress by coherence, not speed. It's not payola, it's not pay to play. Anybody can put $5,000 or $10,000 together and get a billboard plaque, but the song's trash. Has no replay value. The tragedy is that most people are told your career is your freedom. But the word itself says your career is your track. Mario Kart. Freedom requires choosing. I'll say it again. Freedom requires choosing when to run, when to turn, when to stop. Some of y'all know people today who are only in relationships, whether that's personal, employment, what have you, simply because they can't stop. They need the convenience of being able to split the mortgage payment. They don't want to lose the house. They don't want to you think it, right? So the tragedy, again, career for most people is career is your freedom, when in reality, career is your track. So that's American behavior in its essence, is the freedom of being able to choose when to run, when to turn, when to stop. So why then working feels disruptive with certain people? And there's a healing process, right? It's because you're forcing someone to break mental models. Those that do branding, marketing, creative work, project management, process optimization, you have to consider this when working with a client, or if you're at a business or a job where you're doing project management. You're optimizing people's careers. Think about a racetrack, whether you was go-karting or whatever that you were familiar with, and you did 10,000 laps on it. Remember, get your 10,000 hours, right? And once you did that, all of a sudden there was a change in the course. You might resist that at first. Everybody's not going to want to exit. Some people are going to want to fight to restore the way it was, even though it might be better for them. So you got to remember, sometimes the things you're doing would be perfect for people that you're helping to exit a race. But what about if you're helping them to exit the race they never consented to? That's a mixture of emotions, because if they never consented to it, they may not even realize they're in a race or in a career. They use the word career every day in their thoughts and what they're doing. why they believe they're better than the person standing outside, but they don't have no idea what they're in because they don't know what the word means. So, continuing, you could be helping them recover from performance-based identity, right? We're no longer just passing through time, we're measured by it. But all that is determined by, are you focused on a career or not? And we'll get to the or not part in a moment. So you could be helping them reclaim uh, orientation over acceleration. What good does it matter if you can go 350 miles an hour if you're headed in the wrong direction? The dopamine people are getting on some of these career paths is, and why they feel their relationships or networks or whatever, because most of the case, like we mentioned earlier, it's not necessarily their ability that actually gets them to places. It's everything else. And this is why we have transactional leadership failing corporate America, because they were never leadership to begin with. They were really good networkers. They got to the place fast. They got there somehow first, but they have no clue what they're doing because they did it by getting, from this, that, the other, took this information, did that, pretended they didn't get this from you, said that, do this, right? So making friends with the management, whatever, instead of working on your agency, your ability, is what caused a lot of the issues you're in today in the job market. If you had the right mindset, America's open for you. Okay? So, reclaiming orientation over acceleration. That's why they describe confidence and competence increasing, leadership emerging, and vision stabilizing, right? Because once someone stops asking, am I running fast enough? You can then say, is this even my road? Is this even my lane, right? You got people that aren't even in their lane because they don't know that they're not in their lane, telling other people to stay in their lane. And when you know this stuff, you're just looking at the mix like, this is the definition of insanity, right? So America doesn't have a work ethic problem. The United States doesn't have a work ethic problem. It has a vocabulary issue. Keep using a word that encodes speed over sense, progress over purpose, endurance over alignment, and then we're shocked when people feel traumatized by successful careers. Your work isn't career coaching, it's linguistic liberation. Arr! Pirate you. You're giving people permission to step off track. Michael Jackson moonwalk, reauthor movement, and Pasha Paroh is inviting you to become American again, not just employed. So let's look at what the letter R does to the situation, right? Because, all right, Pasha, are you just talking shit? Is this your feelings? People that, that's his opinion, when they be the Supreme Court justice's opinion. They don't, feel the same about that, but they want to call yours, they want to use the word opinion, right? Is that what it is? Let's take a look. Let's see what the letter R does to the word. If the R and the N are only difference in value. So R holds all the possibilities. Notice it says holds. R holds all the possibilities of the I, except that it represents the brighter side of the nines. So you're tolerant and you like to help humanity. You're tolerant and you like to help humanity. Career. You are very active. If negative, you have to guard against losses like your career. If R is followed by an I, you may be touchy and irritable. R at a peak cycle provides an opening for new plans, new ideas, calling for an occupation in life, as you see here, resolve to obtain status through this period. And since the pace is fast, there is a need to slow down somewhat. R has a health factor, or R as a health factor, is called the growler letter, indicating undercurrent rumblings, but not very harmful unless two R's are stimulated into action at the same time, like career. If negatively expressed, accidents may occur through rashness and carelessness, which can bring on sickness. How many of y'all knew that's what R does? And how do you feel now about what you thought was your career? Right? Now, phonetically, R is a consonant. It's basically it's the way it is that the tongue pulls back. Air is constricted but not released. Okay, so PTK gives you release, L is flow, M and N is containment, R is strain in motion. Strain in motion. Career. It means forward movement under tension. Action without resolution. Sound that never fully lands. I mean, you wonder why it's a toxic workplace. Let's look at that again. Forward movement under tension. Action without resolution. Sound that never fully lands. See, that's your career. The I is the identity, right? I's identity is the self, it's your intention. But the R is identity under responsibility. See, that's why they try to give you that title. Remember I said come with terms and conditions, right? Rules and regulations. That's the responsibility. Society always want to assign you a title because they want to give you the R. The moment I becomes R, self becomes a role. And you wonder why you don't feel like yourself in these titles. right? So I becomes R, self becomes a role, identity becomes function. That's why all these people you think you networking with, you know, how many people today do you feel like you meet, you talk to in your phone right now, whatever your measure, do you feel are actually worried about you? Like you. How many people take time to get to know you? Most people run because they're not used to someone saying, you know what, I want to learn more about you. That you send someone a message on LinkedIn saying, let's learn more about each other, and see what happens. Why? Because identity becomes function under the R. Is you aren't you. You what do you do? And intention becomes duty. That is corporate America's, that is the United States system favorite conversation. This is what made Eminem Eminem. America's favorite conversation is I am. You are responsible for. That's not empowerment. That's load bearing. That's weight. That's load bearing identity. The United States is a R factory. It's a little shop of horrors, right? Because look at the dominant vocabulary of the United States, of corporate America. It's roll, review, report, responsibility, results, revenue, risk, restructure, realign, reorg, performance, career. So it's not that you don't have friends, it's that, you're not R-ing enough. You need some more R in your life. Because there's R's everywhere. The R encodes the motion, the pressure, the expectation. Corporate America doesn't want people who are like ARE. It wants people who are. People who carry, CARRY, double R stimulant. Now, what happens when the two R's are stimulated? Right? This is where trauma shows up. Two R's mean pressure applied to pressure. So pressure applied to pressure. Responsibility stacked on responsibility. Motion without rest or expectation without release. That's why they be talking about, they think they talking shit about, oh man, you look like you still in the same spot you were last year. Motion. See, they don't know about a field. A field radiates out and can move forward. You can stand in the same spot. You can be the epicenter. You can and just radiate out like you on some Street Fighter video game or something, and energy can just traverse the whole universe because you become omnipresent. But they're like, you're still in the same spot, and you're like in your mind, like, yeah, but you gotta go somewhere. So the examples of the pressure applied to pressure, responsibility stacked on responsibility, the motion without rest plus expectation without release are career, corporate, performance review. Even give you another R. Reorganization, like we mentioned. Hard worker. When they call you an overachiever. Restructure. And all the burnout words. They're not accidents. When two R's activate, the system demands speed, the psyche loses buffering, and the body enters hypervigilance because you're in a toxic, traumatic state. What do you think about that so far? So that's why the R is called the growler. Not explosive, not dramatic, just constant internal rumble. So the growler effect, corporate trauma signature, what is that? Translated psychologically, it's chronic anxiety without a single cause. Self-blame despite excellence. Exhaustion that rest don't fix. Sudden health issues out of nowhere. Identity collapse after leaving a role, which is why a lot of them remain, because who would they be? What would they be without it? Because the body was never allowed to resolve, or never resolves, it only rolls forward. That's why the career is so violent as a word, a vehicle on a track with double pressure to move. No wonder people feel run down, used, misaligned, ashamed of wanting off. The word itself, run faster, don't stop. And when someone can't anymore, the system says, you're the problem. No, you're not the problem. You're not the problem. You just hit what we're going to call the R saturation point. And that's when you need to see the R door. Okay? And you can come to America like Eddie Murphy. Working with me releases the R. Just like my client said in the response, and it said this in these words, but it changed. Mental models were broken. Unique perspectives were allowed. Confidence and competence reconnected. I'm the plug. Leadership emerged. I didn't add speed. I removed the excess R. That restored identity, flow, structure, and meaning. It gave them resolution, not acceleration. That's why they felt powerful. That's why they feel powerful. That's when that moment clicked. They felt it was unsettling at first, right? That's why a lot of y'all run from me. It's unsettling at first. Denial's always the first stage, they say, right? That's why, for those who stay, it heals. It heals. Because you want to be healed, but you're only used to being surrounded, and everything that you know is sickness. Too much R destroys itself. Corporate America ignores that line, but you don't. You don't. That's the difference between the U.S. citizen who survives the system and an American who authors their own movement. I'm taking people from the system and giving them their own movement. It was always inside of them. I just removed the R's. So when you see me in a double R, don't be wondering where it came from. I helped a lot of people by it. So American work trauma is not psychological first. The United States citizen work trauma is not psychological first. And I say it like that because Americans, when we really don't stand together, we put ourselves at risk to have to re-enter the system. And then they give themselves all the magic dust of why they're doing it. You know, I do what you gotta do, right? It's like, you know, I don't think the cow wakes up and says, you know, that meat grinder over there is calling me today. So it's linguistic. And those who know YNet7, who's been following me for the years, knows that my channel, the knowledge side, not the music side, the Pasha Paroh is the music videos, the YNet7 YouTube channel is the knowledge channel. It started on etymology because when I won, my people, look, I was so in, which we're going to get to in a moment, which made the R say there's something wrong with you, that this is why I got, you know, my own family threw me in the mental hospital for mental health observation. For them to tell them there's nothing wrong with me, I just know shit that the average person don't know. And I should be careful who I speak to about it. And that enraged me that they wanted, you know, you would think of all the stuff I did not to go to jail, like nothing crazy. I'm talking about police chases. I've been in 4 police chases, and the only reason I'm not a felon is because I got away. Think about the life you lived and all the careful discipline and all this shit you done for years to not get jammed up, and then you go and get held hostage for being fucking intelligent. I was mad. I was younger, and I was angered, and that compelled me. So I realized that helping people understand the words we use every day means something different would help them understand what they call law, because they're words too. And I can't, you know, it's hard to go anywhere when the constant sickness is your vocabulary, because the word technology, despite you holding an iPhone or thinking about your Tesla, it originally applied to grammar. This is technology we're talking about today. The constellation is a higher cognitive class of business. I can't tell you you're not a United States citizen. I can offer you the opportunity to be American. So the work trauma is not psychological first, it's linguistic. And the R is the pressure point. The R is the pressure point. Here, put this one on the screen for you. Right? So people are burnt out, they're over-awed, too much responsibility, too much role, too much running, not enough resolution. You might as well join America. So if we go back, now that you got a full understanding of R and career, what is Careen? Careen and career, same motion, different constraint. The career is to run at full speed on a course. Careen would then be to rush forward out of control off course, which is why the boat leaned in their early examples. It wasn't supposed to go that direction. So said the captain. Same kinetic force, same velocity, same route. Only difference is the R or the N. And that swap changes who owns the motion. It's like that movie with the last dragon, and he flashes back while dude drowning him. And he's like, there is one place you have not looked, and it is there. You will find the master. I've lived my whole life off that movie. Particularly like the last 7 to 10 minutes of the movie. It just, everything you need to know is in there if you know what you need to know. But if you don't know what you don't know, you're just looking at it. It's going to be a surge in Google Trend search on that. So the R, right? We know that the R regulated the motion, role, responsibility, route, rank, review. Now I want to talk a little bit real quick about the N, right? Because what makes me your N? What makes you my N, right? So R keeps movement productive for a system. It converts identity into output. It stabilizes speed by imposing direction. You that way, you that way. This is why employers appreciate the R, right? This is why you feel like the employers are like, the pirates in your life, right? R makes people useful. N is narrative motion. It's imagination, it's meaning, it's inner life, it's change, it's variety. Think about how many people talk about they enjoy not doing the mundane and then they go to work every day. N introduces authorship. It asks why and where. It destabilizes the rigid paths by adding interpretation. This is why the people run from you, because you're destabilizing their rigid paths. It's not because of what they put on you and whatever they said about you. That's just what they told themselves to tell other people because they scared to get off the track. They don't know what's off the track if they've never been off the track. And the unknown scares people, some more than others. So N destabilizes rigid paths, which is the R, by adding interpretation. And this is why institutions fear N. N makes people restless. Like Bruce Lee. But you didn't catch it that way when he said, be like water. Because you don't know what you don't know. So you didn't know that he's telling you to be an N. Because water, at its at-rest state, in its purest form on this planet, in most applications, is distilled. Distilled. It's at its most active point, being a liquid. I know there's gases and there's more energy involved, but what I mean by distilled is if it's contaminated, the molecules have other molecules in there, so their movement is limited because it's contaminated with other shit. This is why it's good to drink distilled water, or they telling you to drink mineral water. I'm not gonna claim authority there. It's for your entertainment purposes. It's not medical advice. The employer's dream is diluted freedom, if you think about it, right? We're doing this here. If we're looking at the R versus the N of the matter, and you're an employer, they don't want a bunch of N's. This is why they sit there and they tell you on a LinkedIn post that the overachiever creates a poor work environment for our underperformers. So we get rid of the overachiever instead of getting more of them. Because the sickness is everywhere. Like, you want performance, but then you say, no, we don't want performance. We're going to keep a bunch of underperformers just so that we can say we got rid of you, overperformer. And then we're going to take them into a meeting and we're going to traumatize the fuck out of them, scaring the shit out of them, saying you might not have a job tomorrow unless you perform more. Because we just got rid of the overperformer. So now we definitely need more performance out of you. Because that's the path they said we're supposed to stay on no matter what. This is what we're supposed to do. So we got rid of that overperformer for being off the path of mediocrity. We're going to give you permission to stay here and work as an underperformer because we care. And you'd be like, yeah, get rid of the overperformers. Honey, I'm stressed. I don't know if I'm going to have a job tomorrow. What happened? The team's not meeting goal now. Company's at risk. Overperformer is doing his thing somewhere else. The employer's dream is diluted freedom. So much so that the overperformer is not even free to perform. You ain't even free to perform in the employer's world. They gonna get rid of you. What was the? I never had an exit interview, but what was the reason for leaving? You just overperformed. That's it. We're here for revenue, but you just bringing in too much. and you were affecting the other departments because they count at a certain speed, and you was just causing a pile up, and it made them frustrated because they had to maintain that speed. They couldn't count any faster, and you gave them too much work to do. So we're getting rid of you, overperformer. I mean, how does that even sound now that you know what a career is and what you know N and R is? Let's continue. Corporate America wants just enough N to innovate, which is why they allow us up in that piece, but never enough to defect. So they allow career development, personal growth plans, creative problem solving. Sounds good for you. But always inside of roles, ladders, pipelines, and OKRs, which I thought was interesting because how many know what an OKR is? I had to look that shit up. But an OKR is apparently objectives and key results, right? They are a goal setting framework used by companies to define what should be achieved, the objectives, and measure how success is evaluated, the key results. I mean, I've talked about things like that a lot, but I never called them OKRs, right? It's always something new to learn. Structure, objective is the qualitative direction. Key results is the quantitative proof. All right. So examples would be objective, improve customer trust. And the key result is increase whatever from 42 to 55. Reduce churn by 10%. Close 3 enterprise accounts. On paper, it looks neutral, even empowering. It's not. OKRs are actually doing in the corporate America system, they don't just measure work, they define your legitimacy, right? This is how the overachiever gets, what happened to that OKR, right? But it defines the legitimacy. So if your contribution isn't countable, isn't forecastable, isn't connected to a metric, then it doesn't exist inside the system. I mean, why do you think they call it a criminal system, right? A legal system. If they can't count it, if they can't forecast it, and they can't connect it to a metric, it doesn't exist. But that's not legal advice for your entertainment purposes only. That's why OKRs are always paired with roles, who's accountable, ladders, how advancement works, and pipelines, how output flows. That's why you gotta stay on course. This is why you gotta have a career, they say. Because OKRs are the translation layer between human effort and institutional value. See, us N's, we aren't worried about institutional value. Because then you got these check boxes, and that's what I've been telling you all this time about the word authority is the checkbox system to authenticate that you're in a career, you're an R. Authority. How many does it got? When what you really want to be is genuine. You see, genuine is an N. Authority is an R. Bunch of 'em. Okay. So y'all, next time y'all get on a LinkedIn post talking about authentic, let them know. Pasha said no. Say no to authentic. Right? All right. Where we at? So, okay. It does not exist inside the system if they can't measure it. Okay. So that's why the roles that's why they're attached to roles, ladders, and pipelines. OKRs are perfect for ends to be inside, right? Because they want the narrative, they want the imagination, they want the authorship, but they give you this box that's limitations of your roles, responsibilities, and results if you believe it. Like I said, I never believed in titles, so that's how I was doing engineering work, without an engineering degree. I had a 34 Wonderlic score. It's top 2% in the nation. Why am I gonna go put myself in a box when top 2% in the nation? Of course I can do that. It's just a matter of time. Of course you can do it. It's just a matter of time. All right. So you get that OKR is how success is defined, basically. So N, right? Diluted freedom. Okay, there we go. Let's get diluted freedom is what the employer's dream is. That equals imagination without escape velocity. The employee's crisis is you wake up one day inside of this system, right? Curiosity then becomes dissatisfaction. Imagination becomes misfit, right? Desire for meaning is seen as lack of gratitude. Wanting variety, they're going to call you unstable. The system labels this as flight risk, not a culture fit, difficult, needs to focus. But linguistically, what's happening is simple. The author woke up inside the runner. It's evolution. It's why Careen feels both liberating and terrifying. And I guess that's why you're looking at an RN on the screen, because hopefully this is giving you some healing. So N is defined, or Careen feels both liberating and terrifying is where we were going to go into. So Careen is what happens when velocity remains, but the constraint of your career collapses. From the employer's view, it's a loss of control. Y'all know those relationships y'all got, right? It's a loss of control to them. It's a waste of training. It's risk. From the employee's nervous system, it's relief, panic, guilt, aliveness for once. Because N introduces experience, not just progress. How many of y'all talk to somebody on LinkedIn or another networking platform or just networking in life, and they can tell you about all the progress they had, but at the same time, you can tell they don't got no experience. Okay. That's why people say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I ain't going back. At that moment, you didn't lose direction. Those people regain their authorship. So the N is the scribe, the R as the regulator. And if they're having a battle, because the N definition is the ancient symbol for a scribe. Oh, you know what? Let's look at it. Did we do it? I don't think we did. Hold on. There you go. So N is the ancient symbol for a scribe. Therefore, this letter implies a person with a vivid imagination who can bring inspired messages to the world. I don't want to just I don't want to just point the finger, but all right. And you too. That's why you're here. So you must remain positive or instability will result. You like to enjoy the pleasures of life, and when self is overcome, you can rise to the heights. See, that's why they don't want you being an overachiever, because overachieve, right? So when self is overcome, you can rise to the heights. They don't want the overachievers there teaching the employees how to be free. When self is overcome, the N can rise to the heights. Envy, jealousy, and divorce are common to someone, let's say, who's an N. N at a peak cycle brings variety, change, and experiences. It is favorable for commercial or political enterprises and may involve much competition. N as a health factor can cause irritability because of emotional upsets brought on by thoughts of marriage. It's connect on LinkedIn. Connect means join together. Connect, join together. Marriage is a term from ships about joining together. The connection is a marriage. Now you see why they act the way they do. When you ask them, why did you connect with me? Let's see what we can join together on. And they're like, oh my God, did you just pitch me on something? Did you just ask to learn more about me? Why would you do that? We're trying to progress, not experience. You see? And then you wonder why America spent the time it did in innovation stagnation, or the American people rather, because the United States couldn't get their fucking minds together enough to work together, learn about each other, to become innovative. They were worried about their careers, not connections to anything outside of the track, the course they were put on by their employers, which included you and me, right? So don't go running back to the family and your friends. They already told you they didn't want you because the career, and I'm not and substitute career for anything that you see as a course or a track that they were on. The career was more valuable to them. The acceptance of the track was more valuable to them. Oh, she belongs to the streets, right? The acceptance of the track, the strip, was the drag strip, the race, right? So N is a factor health can cause irritability because emotional upsets brought on by thoughts of marriage. If N occurs with a G, marriage has a very good outcome. If N and T are together, marriage prospects are marriage prospects and harmony after marriage are certain. All right. I mean, get you some books, some authority, because the word authority is the book or the quote that sells the question. And there you go. Let me see, where was we at? We was moving right along. All right, so N as the scribe versus R as the regulator. Ancient symbol for scribe brings inspired messages to the world. See, you can't be the N in a room full of R's when the employer is looking at you as bringing inspired messages from the outside world. Right? It's like why they tell you to cut your phones off for y'all that listen to them at the workplace, and you be turning your phone off and shit. You know what I mean? It's that type of shit. How you feel about that? I want you to, tomorrow's Monday. You gonna think about me tomorrow, but you're really thinking about this. And you're gonna look at your employer and you either gonna go, Pasha, we coming to America. Or you're gonna look at your employer and you're gonna resent Pasha in America because you wanted to stay on course. It ain't us. But the N is not chaotic. It is meaning making. See? But the meaning threatens systems built on replaceability, standardization, predictable outputs. So the system frames N as negativity. It's unstable. They'll say we're the emotional ones. They'll say we got personal issues. Oh, Pasha's going through a midlife crisis. That's their control narrative they give ours about us N's. Career trauma is R suppressing the N. When N is suppressed too long, imagination turns inward. Rumination. Desire for variety turns into irritability. Unlived narratives are envy and resentment. Identity split happens and you say you don't even recognize yourself anymore. Which matches your health notes exactly? The marriage, right? The connection then becomes the union of your inner self and your outer life. This is why Google says I'm a new age artist. And I'm telling you, I'm not religious, because I have you examining your inner self and your outer life. I'm not hip hop. I ain't rap. I ain't wrap you up and contain you. Now you in this wrap like a cocoon, like a what is it? Little caterpillar. You wrapped up. You're not Akon. Can't get me out. No. So when in has no outlet, it seeks union wherever it can. So what you're realizing, your thirst for acceptance, because y'all, some of them just want to be with anybody just to feel accepted. What they're not realizing is that that's the in inside of them responding to not having an outlet, and they think that they're just popular. They're wanting to seek popularity, and then they're dissatisfied with the popularity because there's no quality with the quantity. But it's because they didn't know that the N inside of them was tired of the R system, and it just wanted to seek union wherever it could. So the structural truth is that career keeps you moving. Careen allows you to choose where movement goes, which is what makes me tell you all these years, focus on the destination, not direction. Employers want motion, but their employees want meaning. The conflict isn't moral, it's alphabetical. And that's why work is my work is so destabilizing, but necessary. What we're doing, I don't tell people to quit. I'm simply legitimizing the end, burping in the middle, and then reducing excess R to restore authorship without annihilating the structure. I help people read Careen without crashing. It's rare, it's threatening, but that's leadership. All right, almost done. So the career, Careen, that's the fork in authority. Let me get you some more eye candy here. So the career, Careen, is a fork in authority, as both words describe motion. Only one describes permission. Career is motion granted by the system. Careen is motion claimed by an individual. So the sentence career Careen means the moment sanctioned movement can no longer contain self-authored movement. The moment sanctioned movement can no longer contain self-authored movement. That's why they get rid of the overachievers in corporate America. The moment sanctioned movement can no longer contain self-authored movement. Because they told you, they said the goal is to get 47. Right? They wanted 47. They didn't ask you to do 200. You did 200 because the bonus payout was 5 times the 47. They didn't ask you to do 200. They said do the 47. So the moment sanctioned movement can no longer contain self-authored movement, it's not a rebellion, it's jurisdictional shift. See, you're in a jurisdiction that they didn't account for. They put it on the paper saying nobody will ever hit this. You came in that motherfucker the first time in 40 years and you're blowing it out the water and your checks are X a month and everybody is sitting over there like that motherfucker keep hitting goals and bonuses and I can't even do 10 and how does he do it and now he gonna win the contest, I might as well not even try. Now they running over to your desk talking about your performance, your overachievement is demoralizing the company because now everybody feels like they can't do what you do. Okay, cool. Give me one of those fancy little concocted titles you got. Make me a trainer. I'll make 400 of me. What would that company performance look like then? But oh wait, nope. Their mind goes. Agent Smith jumps into them, and they go, "No, that would be not a wise career move. It would be off course. We didn't plan that for you. We're not going to promote you, and we don't want no superstars. We're just going to let the whole entire company suffer. All the people we could have helped if we sold 47 times more." Just so the whole company can gaslight you, the one person, into a justifiable divorce. And you wonder why all y'all people coming to America. So what career Careen means to the employee is I can keep moving correctly, or I can start moving truthfully. You always hear me say it's not about right or wrong because right and wrong are both true. The question is, are you true or false? Your career is false. Your real estate. In the other video, we proved that real estate is false. So your career is false. Your real estate is false. Your car, you don't really own it. What are you doing it for? What was your... Oh, that's right. It wasn't about purpose. It was about just to continue to move progress in the direction that you were given, assigned. So no, the employees aren't lazy. They're not ungrateful. They are, in most cases, overqualified for obedience. This is the precise psychological state where the N, the scribe, the imagination can no longer live under the R, the role of responsibility. DMX double R pressure, double R pressure has activated the growler. Meaning has outrun permission. Careen becomes a diagnosis. I'm giving it to you for the first time. Say it like this. Say it with me. My internal authorship has exceeded the system's tolerance. One more time. My internal authorship has exceeded the system's tolerance. Starting your business with me, Pasha Paroh, isn't about escape. It's about reconstituting consent. If you're gonna run, right the road. If you're going to run, right the road. What does career Careen mean for the employer? This is why they be trying to keep you all away from me. Your employers, your leaders, your community leaders, your whatever you feel like group you're in under that leadership. Look, this is what career Careen means to them. The employee is becoming ungovernable. That's why when there's dude and they got a chick or they girl, that's why I avoid they chick. It's not them trying to be disrespectful if I don't speak to you. It's because I'm Pasha. I snatch souls. The employee will become ungovernable. I don't even mean to. This is what Americans do. When America is president, the United States sees and feels and senses the difference. The thing is, they try to make us the demon, or demonize us, because it justifies them staying on track. That's another conversation. So, what career Careen means to the employer is the employee is becoming ungovernable, not unethical, not incompetent, but ungovernable. So for all the LinkedIn posts that didn't understand why they're getting rid of overachievers like me, 1,069% goal, highest month at Discover Financial, but because somebody has a seizure and I say, we're worried, literally the verbatim was, we're concerned about a life here in case you're not. Oh, good. We can get rid of the overachiever for insubordination because we asked him to get back on the phone while his high school friend in his early 20s is having a fucking seizure, who never had seizures before, in the conference room 30 yards from his desk. But we want him to be on course with a phone call or our credit card is more important to him than the well-being of someone at the time that he saw as you could call a definition of a friend, because they went to high school together in school for 3 years. But they didn't put that part on there, right? When they terminated you, they didn't say it was because you were human. They called it insubordination. Because governance depends on predictable motion, contained imagination, voluntary adherence to the path, which is why when you do get the book, the Novel Codex, it says governance requires consent. Like I said, man, all of this, everything that we cover here for an hour and a half into it, on just career and Careen, is in that one phrase. It's contained within that 3 words. Governance requires consent. That's why I only need to give y'all 46 pages, because 3 words, you can pull all this that we went over today out of and more. It's a whole infinity of what I'm saying when I say that. Governance requires consent. But because y'all used to talking to who y'all talk to, you don't know the value of what it means when I say it. And you may not have never heard it before. That's why people are gonna get the book and they're gonna study it, and it's gonna be like a Bible to them, because you're gonna have to go into interpretation mode. It's not a Hormozy production, right? It's not a $14 just so I can get on some awards list, right? United States measurement, Billboard, right? It's because I'm delivering real value to you. So get the codex and explore what it's telling you. So when the N activates strongly, the employee still performs, but your belief leaks out. You stop identifying with the role and you start observing it. And you know what? I think that's what happened to me on a different level, because when you look at the United States, the way they make us feel, like me, the gaslighting is like we said, there's something wrong with you. You're the problem. Okay. So then I had to start observing shit to find out what the truth was. Was it me? Was it not me? And it makes you realize what you're questioning is, where's the humanity? You see? And the more you observe, this is why the United States citizens become the first AI. This is why they are the machines, right, of the Matrix. And this is why we're building America, because I don't want anybody else to get thrown in a mental hospital for being intelligent. Because intelligence, the way you've heard me say it in the past, is conscious level will become the new racism. When I said it, a decade ago. Well, we're here now. All of us, y'all just catching up to it. They are just catching up to it. What we were speaking of 10 years ago. So stop identifying with the role. Start observing it. And that's the most dangerous phase for any institution. So when you look at my LinkedIn page or you look at my Facebook and it's dry on the activity, it's not because it's not quality information. It's because the most dangerous phase for any institution is when an N starts to observe it. That's why I'm in isolation, and I make a song called Isolation, and it goes transatlantic. I'm only talking to you. Can only relate to me if you were in. If you are, you're not feeling this. Where the ends at? This is what makes me your end. Because the end is described. This is why you come to me for your branding and marketing, because I'm true with it. As you withdraw your beliefs in the system. And then employers try to reabsorb Careen, back into the career. And that's where the dilution of freedom shows up again. They want to give you a promotion instead of your own autonomy. They want to give you a new title instead of your own authorship. See? They said, damn, we gotta get this. We gotta get this in an engineering role, or else he gonna go engineer a new world. And he don't have a degree. Fuck the degree. Give him he passed the test. All right. He the highest motherfucking score we've seen in the state. Period. So bonus instead of direction. They'll give you the bonus instead of direction. They'll stretch your roll out in hopes that you won't exit. Why? Because the system senses if the person careens, others may realize they can too. See, that's why they can make Hormozy popular, and the people who are, and it's no discredit, they chose to do what they do, but let's say the other people who are playing safe, the people who's giving you the quotes that's talking about your feelings, when I showed you if that was first put in a book in the 70s, we're going on 60 years ago almost. It's obsolete communication. That's why they give you all of that shit. Because they know Pasha careened already. He knows how to careen others. And if he careens too many, America will be able to compete with the United States for the first time in centuries. Now, do you prefer the NFL, National League versus the American League, or do you want to get a real life National League versus American League and battle it out with GDP? I mean, y'all like to watch games. I started playing Madden because I wanted to control it. Y'all like to cheer. I want to own it. Because Careen is contagious. Not because it's reckless, but because I give you the choice. Governance requires consent. 3 words, 3-word quote from my novel Codex is the foundation of today's message. It's the missing sentence. Governance does not operate on control. It operates on ongoing consent. Your career only functions if you, the employee, accepts the path. You gotta believe the rewards justify the constraints. You gotta internalize the authority of the system instead of your own or the truth. The moment an employee says, even silently, that you no longer consent to this interpretation of your motion, say it like this: I no longer consent to this interpretation of my motion. Governance begins to fail. Not violently. That's why we don't understand the riot situations and shit. You consented. So the moment an employee says, I no longer consent to this interpretation of my motion, governance begins to fail. Right there at that moment. Whoop. Not violently, quietly, legally, lawfully, psychologically. Career is standing consent. Careen with Pasha is revoked consent. You're gonna write your own road with Pasha. Remember, Careen is consent withdrawn from inherited direction. No system survives that moment unchanged. And that's why everything and everyone around you is working hard to keep you away from me, the signal. But you naturally feel drawn to me because I'm the omnipresence. I'm the truth. Release your codependency. Constellation, stars, and stripes. That's what the employer is concerned about. Your renegotiated consent from hanging around Pasha too long. Your reasserted control from going through Pasha's programs. You letting go. The employee must either re-enter the role, which would be self-betrayal, fragment, which is burnout, or author your new governance structure, entrepreneurship, or self-employment, or just owning your own business, doing your own thing. Whatever role title you want to give it or not give it, do you. I want to help you do you. All right. A couple of bullet points and we can wrap it up here. Why entrepreneurship is a governance act. Starting a business is not hustle culture. It is self-legislation. It's reclaimed authorship. It's voluntary assumption of the risk in exchange for coherence. And for those will help you out, the word assume is like to own, right? To make yours. So when someone works with me, you aren't just leaving a job. You're withdrawing consent from misaligned governance and refounding it internally. That's why it feels terrifying. That's why it feels moral. And that's why it feels American. Employees are going to hear, I am no longer governed by a path I didn't author. And the employer is going to hear, our authority over this person is expiring. Same sentence, different stakes. All right? Stars and stripes. What's your quiet constitutional claim if you're not in the stars and stripes, if you're not part of the constellation at the moment? What is your current constitutional claim in your work? We're not telling people to quit. We're teaching you if governance requires consent, then so does employment. Once you understand that, a career is no longer compulsory, only optional. And that knowledge can't be undone. A career is a movement you consented to once. You put in one application, one time. You did it one time. Careening is a movement you consent to now, every present. When consent expires, governance does too. It's not anti-work. It's civic literacy applied to the self. That's why you see a thing says for the human condition. I'm building luxury presence infrastructure for the human condition. When you understand that career is no longer compulsory, it's optional. It's not anti-work, it's civic literacy applied to the self. Pasha Paroh, thank you for tuning.